walking in was Mr. Josh Fleetwood. If you'll give him a round of applause for his beautiful playing. Also, for the first time in the technical booth is Donna Lane and Danielle Cook. And again, if anything happens, it's because it's a new building. That's what we're going to say. But again, thank you ladies for all that you're doing. They were up here yesterday and they were trying it out, and the speakers and getting the lights the special way. And then, like I told them, if it happens, we planned it. So again, we just want to welcome everyone here. To start the ceremony, I'd like for Dr. Louise Goins to come forward to do our dedication prayer, please.
All those that will, we want to ask you to bow your heads for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for a promise fulfilled and a vision realized. Thank you for allowing us together for another school year. Some have come through great struggles and seemingly unsurmountable challenges, and we are blessed to have them with us today. We ask and receive your blessing for every administrator, student, teacher, staff member, county, and district member. Give us wisdom and knowledge to understand and provide not only the educational needs of our students, but socially and economically as well. We have a great task before us, but we trust you to guide us and to keep us and to help us do the right thing for this community and for Dillon District 4. In Jesus' name, amen.
At this time, I have the class of 1960 who has requested to do a presentation to Mr. Rogers and to Mr. Schaefer, Chairman of the Board. So if you two gentlemen would come forward here, and if Mr. John Henry, Mr. Jamie Smith, Kurt McSwain, and the artist, Brad Horton, if he would come forward, please.
Class 1960, which was a long time ago. We had a reunion a few months back, and we thought it would be right for us to present a picture of the old high school to District 4, and it gives us great pleasure to do that. And it's a work of Brad Horton. Brad has done a lot of this, and it's a really great picture. And Kurt McSwain and Jamie Smith and myself, we were in that class. This picture is going to be focused on the vestibule as you come in. It'll be on your right. As you come in, you'll have 4 chairs from the old auditorium at Dillon High School. And so memories will avail when people that went to that school, us old folks, years ago, we'll think about the times that we spent at that school. It gives me great pleasure to present that to Mr. Schaefer and Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, fellas. This will be an honored picture out front, and there's so much that is new, but if you walk through, which I hope you have the opportunity in a few minutes, we have tried to bring the old into the new, because we never want to forget where we come from. These fellas have done a good job and Brad worked with us, and we know all about his talents. So those are the kind of things that we want to keep, and we want the kids to know the history of their school district. And this time I want to say thank you for all of you that had an opportunity to come together to bring that for us to, and it'll be shown out front. And Also, I wanted to say before I talk in a minute, I didn't want to forget, Dr. Elkins mentioned Mr. Fleetwood. We came in here last week and I practiced with him to get him ready. You know, he is a very talented young man. For all those that are at Dillon Middle School, listen, you walk in the morning and you hear that sound down that hall. If that doesn't get you ready to learn, I'll apologize. Thank you, Joshua, for playing. And this piano, baby grand, as Miss Sylvia Griffin told us at a county board meeting, was given to us in 1933, something like that, and it was built in 1906, and it was refurbished for this event today and for the use of all the students in Dillon 4. Thank you.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome our faculty and staff back to the 2015-2016 school year. I hope you had a very relaxing, not so cool summer, but it just seems like yesterday that the summer came upon us and now we're back to start the school year. You know this is a great time of the year. It is a new beginning and the start of something special. We have added some great new teachers to go along with our wonderful teachers that we have on staff. We have an excellent board of trustees, administrators, and support staff. I strongly believe good things will happen in Dillon School District 4. We have what it takes to motivate our students toward academic excellence. During the summer, our Board of Education, our central office administrators, building principals, they were all very busy gearing up for this new school year, ensuring that all programs are in place to reach our #1 goal, increasing student achievement. As your assistant superintendent, I know that getting children excited about the opportunities and possibilities of the new school year is vital to all of our success. Please join me in setting high expectations for this year. The first day of school is extremely important, especially for our children. It sets the stage for all they need to accomplish this school year. The members of the Board of Education and I are committed to our partnership with students, teachers, staff, and residents of Dillon School District 4. We will continue to reach and teach for excellence each day and ensure that every child enjoys a productive school year. Now I would like to recognize our chairman of the Dillon County Board of Education, Mr. Richard Schaefer. He will be coming forward to welcome you today and recognizing our special guests who are seated before you today.
Thank you, Miss Molly, and welcome. Wow. I knew I'd get handwriter's cramp once a month, but I just didn't know why. Now I see why. So it's the first time I've had in a long time to greet the whole faculty and staff in one setting. So I welcome each and every one of you here today. I woke up this morning and I told my wife, I said, I'm fixing to go solve a dream. And that's what this is, a dream. But it's come true. We are here. We have arrived. And you know, it took a lot and a long time coming. I remember the first day I was on the job at the Board of Education, Mr. Rogers, who I began this journey with some 27 years ago, looked at me and said, well, now your first problem is we need $2 million. $2 million. Back in that day, $2 million was way off my chart. I didn't know what $2 million meant, nor how many zeros it had. All the roofs were leaking. So in the next 27 years, we have found a way to arrive. And it's been a long, industrious trip, and I'm glad to be here. It's an amazing journey. It's a journey that has been put together by many, many, many people, more than I. And the people on this stage have contributed all there is to this project. Without every one of these people on this stage, we wouldn't be here today. Because there have been times over the last 10 years that I've seen, met, and greeted, and talked to every one of them about problems, about opportunities, and about where we're going and how we're going to get there. This started off in 2007 with a bond referendum led by our House member, Representative Jackie Hayes. An amazing venture. It passed by 75% of the electoral vote. An amazing journey. We figured out how to fund it, and guess what? You didn't pay any property taxes for it. We had a $60 million bond referendum paid for out of a sales tax. First time in the state of South Carolina, a sales tax had been used to fund school construction projects. That sales tax fund exists today, and that's what will pay back this $65 million that we have spent on new facilities, not just in Dillon, but in Lakeview and in Loudoun. It's called Phase 1 and Phase 2. This is a Phase 2 project. Phase 1 was middle school. Now, that is an amazing deal. But when we were putting this together, the financial people and the people we brought in to give us an estimate of what we needed, I think it was called a needs assessment. Well, I thought we needed everything. I didn't know we needed somebody to tell us that. I can walk around the county and look at the leaking roofs and tell you pretty much we needed everything. They came up with a figure, and that's been a long time ago, of $120 million. I thought to myself, the whole county ain't worth $120 million. Much less we're going to spend $120 million in the school system. So anyway, today we're to the fruition of that project and that program. And I got to introduce the people that made this possible. I did not do it. The people behind me did it. And I would like to do that for each and every one of them. First, I want to introduce Dr. Polly Elk in the school. I'm going to tell you. Please stand up. I know they know you, but without her, I know I wouldn't be here today. I don't know about the rest of them. She knows more about these projects than I know. And I'm quite sure she may know as much as the architect knows. But she has been a pure blessing. And anytime I needed to know something, I call Polly. Anyway, I'm going to start with the Dillon District 4 Board of Education. If y'all would stand, please. The Dillon District 4 Board. Now, this is your governing board. These are the people that sign your contracts, people that hire you and tell us to pay you. So I want to introduce each and every one of them. Miss Ethel Taylor, who is the chairman. I think most of you know her. She's been around here a while, about like me. Bert Rogers. Bert, if you raise your hand. Mr. Alex Lewis. Alex. Feynman Whitfield is our newest member. Feynman. This is the best day of your life, Feynman. Now tell the hand. Earl Gleason Jr. Is Earl here? See Earl. He's a psych nurse, so I imagine he's in Darlington, because I know he's really busy. Mr. Kenneth Bethea. I saw Ken. And Mr. Mike McCray. I tell you, you don't see them a lot, just like you don't see us. But that's where the rubber meets the road. These ladies and gentlemen do a tremendous job. And I just thank the Lord that I was appointed to the county school board and not to the local school board. So I'd like to give each and every one of them a big hand of applause. Next, I'm going to introduce my board. Lord, what can I say? They let me talk. That's about all I know how to do, talk and find money, they tell me. I don't know about that last part, but I can talk. Obviously, I'm Richard Schaefer, and I'm the chairman. Nancy Finklea could not be here today. She is the longest term board member. She has 3 months longer on the board than I do, so I wish Nancy could have been here, but she's having health problems. Mr. Carl Altman, he's one of the Loudoun members, and he's also not here today. Tim Falk. Tim, come in. Tim Falk is a Dillon board member, and he's not here. Mr. Jimmy Sweat, I know he's here, I saw him. Jimmy, if you will, thank you, sir. James McCray. James, if you'll stand up, please. This is our vice chairman, and I'll be quite honest with you. He has been a wonderful right-hand person. James is always there when we need him. He goes to as many meetings as I do. As long as I do the talking, he's happy. But anytime we got a problem, he's the go-to man for the problem. So I do appreciate you, James. Thank you. Next, Mr. Robert Abson. Robert is a retired school teacher. How many years, Robert? 30. 30. So I tell you, he knows exactly where you are, where you're coming from, and where you go. So I do thank you, Robert, for being here this morning. John Best. Johnny's a Lakeview. He's from the Lakeview district. And Miss Sylvia Griffin. Miss Sylvia is here. And we all know Sylvia. Sylvia taught most of us. So she helped put this whole dedication together for this auditorium. So talking about that, the first day I was on the board, I walked into the boardroom and there sat Miss Horton. Everybody know Miss Horton? That's Brad's mother. I looked at Miss Horton and she looked at me and I said, uh-oh, ain't no fooling her because she knows. So I made a deal with Miss Horton. If you won't tell it, I won't talk about it. So, those are our teachers, Miss Sylvia and Miss Horton. School Facilities Corporation. Now, I can't say enough about this group because they have been amazing. John Williams has just done an outstanding, commendable job. He ought to have writer's cramps. And by the end of the day, he will have writer's cramps. Because he's got to go to a meeting to pay for all this we're talking about here today. So, John, if you'd stand up, please. John is the chairman of the Dillon County School Facilities Corporation, and the actual owners of these facilities is the School Facilities Corporation. And they lease them to us, and we give them to the district. So, thank you, John. And with him today is Claude Graham. I know I saw Claude Graham. Stand up, Claude Graham. Everybody knows Claude Graham. He was your county administrator. So I know you know him.
Long now, good.
Long. But when Claude was the administrator, I was on the school board, and we worked together many times, and he did a wonderful job for Dillon County and for this school system. Thank you, Claude. Isaiah Armstrong, not here, and John Rogers. Okay. The School Facilities Corporation was formed some years ago to orchestrate us being able to carry out these programs. We're not an elected school board, so we can't raise taxes and we can't raise money. They, being an independent corporation, can raise taxes, can raise money and borrow money. And it's up to us to pay it back. As long as they borrow it, we'd be okay though. So I do appreciate all they do. They are also the oversight committee on anything that we've got going on in the county and the Department of Education. They are the oversight committee. They have full access to everything we do, every document, every financial document, anything they do. They kind of like the inspector general, I reckon you would say. So anyway, they have full access. Next is a group that they've been here a lot longer than I have been here. So I'd have to go back to my father to do that. I would like to introduce the Herald office group, the Dillon Herald group. We have two, the editor and the general manager in the office, in the audience. I'm sorry, I ain't got out of the office yet. Betsy, would you stand up? She does an amazing job because she puts up with me once a month talking, so that's a job. And Johnny Daniels, who is the general manager of the paper. They gave us a lot of support to get these projects done. Without the newspaper and his level of support, I don't think we'd ever got it. So I want to say thank you. They did an outstanding job and continue to do in covering these projects. Next, Mr. Thomas Jordan is one of the owners of the Herald Group. His family has been very, very supportive of these projects. Early on, we went to Mr. A.B. Jordan and discussed the projects with him and his family, and they have just been on board the entire time. They've made the situation a lot easier for us to handle and to go through, and for that I do appreciate you, Thomas, and tell your father I said so too.
Thank you.
Okay, now, the man that was dreaming harder than I was dreaming and harder than Mr. Rogers was dreaming. A man that really dreamed all this together. Mr. Tom Hughes, who is the head architect and owner of SFLNA. Tom, will you stand up? Now, there is not an inch of this project he doesn't know, believe me, from top to bottom. If anything wrong, it's his fault. If you tell me it's wrong, I'm going to go tell Tom it's wrong. And then it becomes his problem. But Tom has done an outstanding job. The design work was beautiful. Everybody, the first question they asked me though, Tom, is why the roof like that? I said, I'm not going to refer you to the architect because I don't know. But it is a beautiful set of circumstances. All the buildings came up and went well. We have one that we are struggling with, but we're about to get there on that one too. So hopefully by next week we'll be 100%. Tom, I just want to say thank you. It's been a long ride, and he put this together for us and made it fit. Believe me, the fitting of all these buildings on one complex was an ordeal. So it was either that or go buy land. Once you tell a landowner you're from the government, you can forget buying land. It's impossible because you're from the government. But Tom, I do thank you for all you have done. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Construction manager. We have really two operations here. We have the construction management group, which is the Brownstone Corporation. And Dale Collier and Thurman Porter are here today. If y'all stand up, please. You might not know Dale, but he's kind of like me. He works behind the scenes. That other fellow over there, I imagine you know him. Everybody knows him. They think he works for us. He's here so much. So I want to say thank you to both of them. It's been an amazing project. They also did Lakeview. That project went 100% good. I hope I'm speaking correct. As far as I know, it went good anyway. But gentlemen, I do thank you for being here today. It's an amazing deal, and we appreciate your hard work. Thank you. Next, the Program Management Company. This is the company that oversaw the entire projects. They handled all the construction, subs, contractors, and all the problems still to get out of hand anyway. But today we have with us the Vice President, I think General Manager of Cummins Construction Management Company, Mr. David Lynn. David, if you stand up, please. I do appreciate all that y'all done. I know that we have had a massive number of meetings, and it seems like Cummins stays here with us, but this has been a massive project too, and I do thank you for all that y'all done. The actual guy that's on site's not here today. He's in Charleston. Rodney Alexander, but I do thank you, David, for being here. Appreciate it. All right, and next, but not last by any means, is the people that actually built the facilities. They represent MB Con, the construction company. I'd like to introduce the project manager, Mr. Patrick Ryan. Patrick, good morning, Patrick. Thank you for coming today. As you can tell, the baby has come home to fruition. We have arrived, and we do appreciate all that y'all have done. So thank you, sir. And Mr. Jeff Tyndall, who was the project superintendent. Jeff, you will. I know you, is this the first time you've been to Dillon County? I know you will remember us well. We do thank you for all that you've done and all the hard work and struggles that we've had. So thank you, sir. Appreciate I want to talk about the magic that put all this together. It was a plan, it was a set of plans. God knows that Tom's drawing more plans than I could put in this auditorium. But how did we get here? A plan without funding is just a plan. We saw plans sit on Mr. Rogers' we call that thing, easel, for many, many, many years and grow yellow. Because we had no way to make that plan come to fruition. Well, one day somebody introduced me to the government. A division of the government I'd never heard of before, because we couldn't get a bank to take this project. They wouldn't give us the parameters that we needed to fund it. And I was introduced to the department of the government called the United States Department of Agriculture, Rural Development. I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea. I knew nothing about farming, and it sounded like they had something to do with farming. Little did I know, I would learn to love them very much so. Because they made all this possible. They made this come to fruition because they loaned us the $60 million that it took to put all this together. And I want to thank them for being here. Is Stuart Hucks here? I didn't see Stuart come in. So, and I know Benita Dorr, she's been ousted to Washington, I think. But for the record, I want to say thank you to Stuart and his group. They did make all this possible. As I said, a plan without money is just a plan. So today I introduced all the players, or most of them. There are still some that are not here. Like Representative Hayes. Lord, what would we have done without him? We wouldn't be here talking about this, I promise you. But through his connections and his hard work, he made from 2007 to 2015 happen. And you know what? Very few people know that. He stays in the background. Today he's in Columbia doing another job. Hopefully it will benefit each and every one of us sitting here in this auditorium. A very important job. Hopefully that School Funding Act will get cleared through the Supreme Court. We'll start seeing funding coming our way for a change for those projects. So we told him he'd be better off today in Columbia dealing with that than here dealing with us. But I can't say enough about Representative Hayes. He has done a great job. Never do I pick up the phone and call him that he doesn't solve the problem. We had a problem not long ago with funding for the new training situation for Wyman Gordon. A special piece of equipment has to be brought in to start that training program. When they handed me the bill for that piece of equipment, I like to have a heart attack. I said, my Lord, how can anything cost that much money? $300,000. He made one 5-minute telephone call, and guess what? We have $300,000. You can't ask for better than that. In a 5-minute phone call, he funded that Wyman Gordon training program, which is now being extended to all industries in Dillon County. So that one step will create that training program and that training center. So I can't say enough about his devotion, dedication, his assistance in all of this. Now I will end and I will say thank you for being here. I think you've heard enough from me today, and I would like to turn the program over to our superintendent, Mr. Ray Rogers. And I again thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you, Richard. Again, welcome all of you here to our new facility. This has been a dream of a lot of people, as you can see. And it has been hard work for a whole lot of people. Before I go on, I have to echo some of Richard's sentiments. Dr. Elkins has been on this ever since before 2007. She has been quite ill and major surgery on all kind of medication, and she never wavered from this project. That's all the projects, Lakeview, Dillon, and this auditorium and district office. Her dedication is unbelievable. While she was out, I was lost. I didn't have anybody tell me what I was supposed to be doing. So she picked up the phone, and when I tuned in, she told me what I needed to be doing that day. But she has been a blessing to all these projects. And we don't want to forget Paula Yowie, which has had major surgery this summer, which is out at this time, but with the technology and how hard she worked to bring all of this about. You know, as Richard said, it took many people, and I want to echo again, Johnny Daniels, Betsy Finklea, Mr. Thomas Jordan, the support that they gave us in the newspaper. And I had the occasion to be invited to lunch one day, I believe it was down at King's Pizza, with Mr. A.B. Jordan. And he said, son, if we're going to do any better in this county, we got to start with our schools. I said, Mr. A.B., it's going to cost some money. I said, in 1976, when we voted for a referendum to help the schools, it was defeated 2-1. I think some of the statements that were made, just put another roof on, get a coat of paint. Well, we're better than that. And that's what he told me in that luncheon. He said, because we got the most important commodity that we have in this county, in these schools, and that's our kids. And eventually these people will wake up. I remember being the principal of East Elementary, standing in some of my teachers' rooms, and when the wind blew, if you had a hat on, it blow through those big windows and blow your hat off. Cold, forget it, you couldn't put on enough. Hot, forget it, you couldn't raise the windows high enough. But those are the things that we've overcome. I remember South, no air conditioning. Richard going down there, taking a look, and said, well, you know, if we don't get some air conditioning there, then we need to shut down all air conditioning in the district offices. And that's true, because the kids are the most important. We're looking at a facility here that all our kids in Lakeview and Dillon will have the opportunity to use for things that we haven't had in many a year. As Mr. Schaefer said, Coach Hayes to us, you see him most of the time on a lawnmower. And you would never know the importance that he is in our state. Why? Because he knows the plight of these teachers and these kids in our school district. He is on the most important committee right now he could possibly be on. I called him and I said, Jackie, you need to be here. And he said, boss, we're working in that committee to bring direction so that the state Supreme Court could either say go with this or not. And he said it has major implications on teacher pay, money coming back to these rural districts. He went on and on and on, and I said, I better not see you down here today. So those are things that we're looking forward to happen. And it means a lot to know that we got someone in our school system, as Mr. Schaefer can say. I was in the same meeting, and we said, oh, what are we going to do? Wyman Gordon wants all this training, and we have no money to buy this equipment. And in one phone call, he had it allocated to the tech center. These are things that we have in common, that we can work together and solve any situation. I'm proud when I go down to Lakeview to see the new middle school, the renovation on the high school, the renovation on the elementary school, the new cafeteria, the renovated cafeterias. Why? Because I was scared when I first went down there, especially the elementary school when we consolidated. It was in so bad need of repair. So we're worried about even the fire alarm working. Those are things that was not just common to Dillon, it was common to Lakeview also. But I'm standing here, and I'm standing here proud to know that we've made a difference in both of those communities. And in Lytle was part of that referendum. Lytle, Lakeview, and Dillon, people stood up and said, we can do better. And this is an example of it here today. The benefactors ultimately are the students. They will know what a decent auditorium is to come have a play, or to entertain their parents, or to show the accomplishments that they have made. And they won't have to hold their head. And they don't live in a quarter of shame anymore. Because the people have said enough. So from 1976, when I was a principal and I walked out with my head down because of what a defeat that we had taken, to now to take a look at the things that we have accomplished. It takes hard work, and it takes everybody working together. There's none of you that were here at that time that has not gone to work to see what you could do to get the voters out to vote, to make a difference in your kids' lives. These are the things that we can accomplish when everybody's got one main purpose. And that's to make sure that our kids are not dealt off the bottom of the deck. Now, we've been to Columbia this summer. We've listened to the things that are supposedly coming. One of the things that we continually say is our teachers do not deserve to make $10,000 less than the neighboring school district. That's wrong. That's been wrong forever. There are things now, hopefully, that the committee that Coach Hayes is working on will be able to solve the inadequacy of funding across the state. But it took the courts, of course it took them from 1993 to present, to see that. We fought. We were disappointed. We fought again. We were disappointed. And ultimately it took the state Supreme Court to say, no, South Carolina, you can't leave these kids in these school districts behind. It's wrong. We need to do better. And for the first time in history, poor kids are having the opportunity to be seen in a different light. I never forget Senator, well, he was a House member then, but he was a senator, and he came to Dillon. He asked me would I give him a tour. He was running for the Senate. He said, because I hear all about these poor school districts, will you show me? I said, yes. I said, but you got to answer one question when you leave. Of course, he's over in the RMO district, or one of the districts here in Columbia, and he said, okay, so we toured and we come back in. And he told me, he said, I believe I'll be a better senator and represent the state better since having been here. He said, I appreciate it. I said, and it was Senator Joel Lurie. I said, I get asked my question. You remember? And he said, yeah, what's your question? I said, would you put your children here? And he dropped his head and said, no. I said, then how can we ask parents to believe in us when we got the situations that we have now? And everything I've heard is Senator Lurie has always supported the poor school districts in South Carolina. You know, a lot of this negative publicity that we had to open some eyes of some people across the state. Because we got good people, but most of them don't know the plight of what some kids have to live and go to school with. And you, teachers, are the brightest part of most of them today. And what you do with them, and the way you treat them, whether it's a pat on the back, a compliment or something that most of them are not used to. Not when you got 90% free and reduced lunches. What does that tell you? You know. Every one of you that teaches a class knows. You got a major responsibility. And it's one that will reward you for the rest of your life. When a child comes back and tells you how much you meant to them. I guarantee you, there is a teacher in your past that has helped put you where you are today. I'll bet everything I own that there is a teacher or a college professor that had something to do with you teaching kids today. So remember all the things that they go through before they get here. And I want to thank you for choosing this profession to make the difference in these kids' lives. And I'm going to say this. You couldn't have a more supportive board than your local board and your county board. Because everything, every decision that is made is with the thoughts of what's best for the kids. Thank you for what you do. You won't be millionaires when you retire, but you'll carry something in your heart and your mind that you'll never forget. I think I was supposed to say thanks to Miss Georgia Thomas. I don't know if she's here, for the plants that are maybe here and outside. And it's people like that that we call on for whatever. And they do everything they can to help us. I want you to have a good school year. I'll be seeing you in the schools. If you got a problem, see your principal. If you got a problem with the district office and it's money, the Art, well, where's Art? He's hiding back there. You see him if it's money. If it's anything else, you see the rest of them, or see Polly, and she'll tell me what I need to do. But it's been fantastic having all of you in here. And you can remember you were the first group that had the opportunity to meet in this auditorium. I hope you use it. I hope the kids have a fantastic time. I can see kindergarten graduation. I can see whatever things that you want to have where parents can come in and see their kids and be proud of what you do. And at this time, okay, I mentioned Art. Art likes to keep a low key, but he's our assistant superintendent. charge of finances, buses, and whatever comes to his office before it gets to mine. And Doug Brown, stand up, Art, let people see you. I know you don't want them to know who you are, so they won't be happy. If there's anything wrong with your check, that's the man. And Mr. Doug Brown, the county office. Folks, I don't know how he's kept up with all this money that he's kept up with. Doug has done an outstanding job. He tries to keep us on course and not overdrawn. And he just represents our county well. Thank you, Doug. Scott Reference, what am I supposed to do now? She tells me at this time I'm supposed to tell y'all you're welcome to walk through the district office, take a look, and then you go back to your schools where I know you got a lot of stuff planned, and principals